الموت لأمريكا! الموت لأمريكا! الموت لأمريكا!
Malcolm X said, and I quote, "We live in one of the rottenest countries that has ever existed on this earth."
What do you think about the USA? What do you think about USA?
When I think about the USA, it should burn! Death to America!
Congresswoman Tlaib,
Fox News. I don't talk to Fox News.
at a rally in your district, people were chanting "Death to America." Do you condemn?
Talk to Fox News.
Do you condemn chants of "Death to America"?
I don't talk to people that use racist tropes.
We have all these proxy wars going on. What's happening in the Caribbean with Venezuela, what's happening with Iran, what's happening with Russia, and all these different allied forces fighting with each other. That's the definition of a world war. And that's what all of the mainline analysts are saying. This really is World War IV. That's what the Pentagon is actually calling it in the academic papers that the United States is fighting right now. China just cut off all rare earth mineral exports to anybody that works for the U.S. They control 95% of it, okay? The globalists allow them to be in positions like that.
So what happens if China successfully cuts off rare earth mineral supplies to the U.S. for a protracted period of time? Is this really the apocalypse for our war machine in many respects? Or is this all just sort of tut-tutting by the Chinese in lieu of getting a good deal from us?
Yeah, I don't think the defense industry will get rare earths from now on. It's not a ban.
Wow.
Commercial industry,
Wow.
Yeah, commercial industries will get it. But you had a major car maker here go down. They shut down this a few months ago for 2 months. They didn't have the rare earth magnets from China. They got restarted, but they literally had to get Trump on the phone to call China. So the defense industry won't get it. They're going to put export control. So China is a very controlled economy. You have to have licenses for importing, for exporting. They're going to make sure, okay, Ford, you're going to buy, or GM or whoever, you're going to buy 50,000 rare earth magnets that has X amount of grams of rare earth. That's all you're getting. So they're going to make sure this doesn't go into the U.S. defense supply chain. I think that's kind of a given. I don't think they're going to get any.
This is absolutely out of control.
As commander of U.S. Army Pacific, you saw this firsthand in Alaska.
Yes.
What did you see?
I took an intelligence briefing, and I was stunned to find out the amount of penetrations that had been happening at our bases up there by Chinese nationals that were in the United States. These individuals were going to the gate. Some of them were getting into the installations. And when they were getting into the installations, they would have cameras and unmanned aerial vehicles in the trunks of their cars. And these things were also happening off the installations, flying in and around our installations, in and around our training areas. We have an enormous training area up in Alaska. The Donley and Yukon training areas is probably the largest ground and airspace that we have in the United States Army, and it's in Alaska. And so Russia and China are serious about their activities up there. I think Russia has always been serious about it. I think China has woken up to its seriousness about it because of the gains that can be made. And then I also think that securing our northern flank from threats, be they missile or be they economic threats where we don't have access of our reach over the Arctic Ocean, and that we get penetrated by adversaries in ways that would put the United States and the Western Hemisphere at risk.
So we're in the New World War. And that's what all the big think tanks have been saying for a couple of years. But now it's official, okay? You've got all these different proxy wars going on. This is the New World War. Now, the CIA called the Cold War World War III. I agree with that term. This is really World War IV. And it's getting kinetic. It's economic, it's cultural, and it's incredibly dangerous. You'll be laying in your bed one night. You'll be driving down the highway after work, and there'll be big flashes you see, and then 10 seconds later, your car is going to be overturned, probably on fire, and then life as you know it's over. You won't get back to your family. There'll be mass starvation and death, and there'll be a new literal dark age with enough dust in the atmosphere to cause a mini ice age, and they estimate 7 billion people will die in a nuclear war. There'll be maybe 500 million left, which is what these death cult people fetish all day long. This is
All right, we're here. Welcome to the Saturday night stream.
being here. It's March 28th, 2027, 26. And we're going to have a guest in tonight, and he had to cancel. So we don't have our normal guest tonight, but I do have some stuff that we're going to do instead. Do you think that Trump has betrayed us? I mean, what do you think? Do you still think that America is number one first, and the first thing on Trump's mind when he wakes up in the morning? Do you think that we're doing good, and that this war is designed to take care of us? Let's see here. For my stream, hold on a second. It does this sometimes. You know that, right? Sometimes I go looking for it and I can't find it. So, okay, we're good. It show up. That's weird. So I have to literally. Sometimes I have to literally bring it in on the page. It's weird. I don't know why it does that. Hold on a second here. Well, it's here, but it's not showing up. So I don't know what is going on here. So we'll give it a minute, and then doesn't show up. We'll have to yeah. Okay. So it's not working right now. If hopefully you can see me on X, because I can pull myself up, but it's not on the page. So I don't know. X does that sometimes to my stream. So super loud too. Hi. Super loud. Anyway, all right. So where are we at? Welcome to the show. The reason why I asked you that question is because of the intel that's coming through right now is that Trump has totally betrayed us in more ways than one. I don't know if it's because he's blackmailed or if he's being held hostage. I don't know what the hell's going on, but this is completely, absolutely, completely 100% against everything that he ran on. And even when you hear him talk, he has a different tone in his voice. And I don't know what this is about. So we're going to get into this tonight. And computer works here. We'll be all right. All right. So let's get into this first story that we have tonight in Austin, Texas. Well, first of all, I was talking to Brent, one of my frequent guests, today about the fireballs in the sky, and he goes, "Dude, we were at our team meeting last month, and there was one in the sky. Don't you remember that?" And I go, "I thought that was a meteor." And he goes, "No, there's no way that was a meteor. It was too big for just like a falling star or something like that. It was literally a fireball." And I'm like, "Huh, I didn't even realize that." But I was running a meeting while it was going on, so there's a possibility I didn't really see it. But they're falling all over the place in Austin, Texas, and different places like that, and it's all over the internet. And so I thought it was would be good to show that, and then what Dark Journalist has to say about it. And because you want to talk about UFOs and UAPs and the history of DARPA and all the things that go back to the secret underground of everything to do with alien forces and and UAPs, all that kind of stuff. He is the one. So we're going to pull in some of that here in a minute. want to show you what Owen Schroyer put up yesterday. Might have been yesterday or I think it was I think it was yesterday from Friday night or from Thursday night. I don't know exactly when it was posted, but let's. I got a few clips on that, and then we're going to get into what Dark Journalist and Alex Jones is talking about because this is very interesting to me. This is something that you would never think that you'd be talking about in real life, and that it was only like some figment of my imagination or some conspiracy theory, but it's legitimately in our face. And it's a trip. It's definitely a trip. And I also have this other one. Oh yeah, Pacific here happens sometimes when I'm looking for stuff in this messy system of mine. I'm gonna have to go back to the Wayback Machine to find it because I don't have it on here. But I'll bring it in for. There's a possibility that we're going to do a show tomorrow night. I have to confirm that. We'll see how it goes. So if you see me coming on tomorrow night, then you know that we're doing a stream around 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Not sure yet. So let's get into this UAP or this unidentified fireball that they're saying could be. It could be something like solar wars going on in our skies. And there was some talk some time ago, and I'll bring it tomorrow. I don't have it. I didn't. I guess I could probably pull it in, but we'll just bring it tomorrow. Where there was a guy that was on Sean Ryan recently, last 6 or 8 months ago, talking about what all this means with Russia or with China. I mean, excuse me, with Iran and Israel at war and fireballs in the sky. But I'll keep you in suspense on that one until tomorrow, and I will pull it up tomorrow. Tomorrow's stream if we do a stream tomorrow night. Stand by.
All right, guys. I'm going to try my best to explain what I and others saw tonight west of Austin, pretty far west. And I found some images on X of some other people that saw it. I was driving, so I couldn't really get a good picture. So I'm driving west. It's sunset, twilight, and I see a bunch of objects in the sky, probably like 4 or 5 objects, and they're striking, like you can't miss them. And I'm thinking, well, this is just the twilight hour, the sunset reflecting off of airplanes or something. You know what I'm talking about. And so I was like, oh, okay, whatever, that's just what it is. And then one of them, I don't know if I would say it blew up, but it just started falling out of the sky and eventually caught fire. And this lasted for like minutes, probably. And then the other objects that were around it started moving and dispersing as well. Someone said they saw 2 fireballs. I only saw the one. And then I looked up at the news and they were talking about how there are meteors or whatever. Folks, this was no meteor. If they try to say this was a meteor, that's BS. This was not a meteor. This was a flying object that caught fire and fell out of the sky. And there were at least 2 or 3 other aircraft right there when it happened. I'm not the only one that saw this. It was crazy. Honestly, it was crazy to witness this. It was wild to witness this.
Dude, wait. Okay, it's going up now. Yeah. It was just going straight across and now it turned up. Dude, what is that?
It's a trip how the phones nowadays are so good that they can zoom in so close to something in the sky. Now, this could, Austin, Texas area has like 6 main military bases out there. Very possible just some kind of a testing thing. It could be something else, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna play. I have these 2 clips from Dark Journalists. We're gonna I can find my Jesus. I have 2. I'm going to play them back to back. Between the 2 of them, it's a few minutes long, but we're going to just roll with this. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about it because I think this is extremely interesting, at least interesting. But if you think about it, all the things that are coming out right now tell you really a lot more about what they haven't told us in decades. I mean, about the truth, about all this stuff. And if you remember correctly, it was last month or 2 ago, Obama came out and said that UFOs were real. And, and then right after that, Trump came out and said, oh, I'm going to have to release the files so that Obama don't get in trouble for leaking, classified information or something like. I don't know if you caught that clip. I didn't think it was relevant at the time, so I didn't really chase it down. I probably could find it if I spent some time. But it's very interesting. But while you're thinking about it, or while I'm thinking about it, subscribe to the channel, share this information everywhere. If you're on, whether you're on YouTube or X or Rumble, Getter, we're on Twitch, so forth. Just if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. I'll loosen up here in a minute. I've been at the computer for hours and hours doing research for tomorrow's stream because if I can get my guest to come in tomorrow, and he asked me if we could do Sunday, and I was like, I have to check and see if I can make it work, but I probably will. We're going to get into some Charlie Kirk shooting stuff, different things like that, and Epstein files. So I've been saving it and doing more research on it, and I've just found the most horrifying things in it. But anyway, let's get back to this Dark Journalist thing. And if you don't know who he is, you should definitely check him out. His channel's Dark Journalist. He is very knowledgeable in the UAP, DARPA, all the stuff that, that secret, CIA, DARPA kind of, stuff that they don't talk about that they keep hidden from you. He is an expert on it. So anyway, let's check this out.
The orbs, the fireballs. What the hell is this?
Yes, well, it's right in your hometown. I'm getting emails from everyone in Austin saying, I'm walking around, I'm seeing this. This is what's going on. I'll tell you, you have to go first to Jeff Bezos's proposal, and this is what's going on. He came out with a proposal through Blue Origin to blow up city-killing asteroids, and he's got an entire division called NEO that is set up to do this. As soon as he announces it, boom, we get these waves of fireballs. Now, the fireball activity, the scientists are explaining it, saying, well, it's just because people have more smartphones. No, I'm sorry, we've had smartphones since 2007.
And then we know that China has satellite killing systems. We know the U.S. has it. There's a real huge space war going on. We know we're already in a kinetic war with China and Russia right now. And I know that in CONUS, we have more systems to shoot these down on the ground and above. Or that's what they want to do, is where we have more radar and other tracking systems to do it. So I would tend to think we're shooting down satellites over CONUS. We can shoot them down other places too, but it would be here because we've got better analysis from the ground and air on it. Or could it be something else? We've also seen all these other orbs. These things are going on. So this is confirmed this is going on. I have hundreds of these videos. Owen Schroyer saw it, got video of it. I missed this during the day, see it at sunset, see it in the middle of the night. I mean, this is going on like hundreds of times a day, folks. Like giant burning things, and then they explode. You can see stone meteorites. I remember my dad used to take me out whenever there was meteor storms that are known to be happening. A lot of them are well known, and he'd say that's a stony. See, it comes in and it's blue. When it explodes, it turns orange, and then that's a metal meteorite. That's nickel. He explained it to me because I was astronomy when I was a kid. We used to go out all the time and had big old Meade telescopes, you name it. Looks like satellites to me, though, not like meteors. Or is it something else? But I tend to think it's a space war and that stuff's getting shot down. I don't know Daniel List's take on this yet, but we also have individuals. I don't like to go off things like this, but it's so interesting. We had an individual in 2012 said in 2026, when there's going to be a war with Iran, that you will see the orbs appear. And I'm just like, who is this individual? So I'll ask Daniel List about that, because about nailing it. The guy did dozens of interviews predicting this 2012. I mean, how many years ago was that? 14 years ago, saying when there's an Iran war, you will see these orbs appear. So this is just getting weirder and weirder and weirder, just to add all the craziness. So Daniel List, sorry I got to you late. We launched a little bit late today because of technical issues. We're testing a lot of new systems here, the new network. Dark Journalist, darkjournalist.com. On X is Dark Journalist, Daniel List. Really the premier wide spectrum analyst, not giving us disinfo, but accurate information. Thanks for joining us. What in the hell's going on here?
Alex, the new network looks great. Fantastic job with it. And it's great to be here. I'll tell you, what's happening is the UFO file is getting harder and harder to hide. And this is the nature of the problem that we're dealing with. You're seeing these things now. It's becoming more and more open warfare. That's why Trump has moved directly for disclosure, even prematurely here in 2026, saying, well, if so much of this is coming out, we're going to have to get ahead of it. And you saw the moves by the Democrats and Obama and others trying to get ahead of the president. But
and we have top generals disappearing. You can recap that. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah. Well, they've grabbed the general. They grabbed his assistant, who was a high-ranking engineer for NASA. So, this is somebody right under Isaacman's control. And they grabbed her back last June. And her name was Monica Reza. And the interesting thing, when you look at all of these connections that were going on, is that she had a patent related directly to the Roswell metal experiment, the memory metal from the UFO crash, going all the way back to 1947. And we were incorporating that into the space program. And that's how we're getting off of the Russian dependence, going into orbit and all the rest. That all comes from Monica Reza and her work. She disappeared while on a hike, and she was the assistant to and had worked on projects with, at Wright-Patterson, William McCaslin. Now, what I've done in my own research about William McCaslin is that he was brought up famously in the WikiLeaks drops that were going on in 2016 during the Hillary Trump campaign. And this was a consistent effort by Assange trying to get this information out. And a lot of people didn't understand at the time, who cares about these Tom DeLonge emails back and forth with John Podesta and Hillary Clinton? Well, right in the heart of that drop was the name General McCaslin. And that's on record. That's part of the whole WikiLeaks drop from 2016. The thing is that relates directly to the UFO file. And you have DeLonge in the heart of this. And of course, DeLonge is the famous Blink-182 front man that the CIA got to front this UFO disclosure group.
And all I got to do is go to X and type in, or in WikiLeaks, General McCaslin, WikiLeaks is right there. This is insane. And it's not just one assistant at the top of compartmentalization, because any top general's got their helper. It's another one disappeared too.
Yes, Melissa Cassios. And she also was part of the Los Alamos group, and they were highly, highly securitized and sensitized in those roles. So that's the highest possible security clearance you can get. And her role was more administration, passing the information back and forth between these two scientists.
So that's beyond Ultra Q. I forget, what's that called?
Yeah, it is the special Q clearance, and then the next one up is the cosmic clearance. That is the highest. Yes, that's the highest level that you can get to when you're dealing with these projects. The thing is, this all came out through the physicist Robert.
By the way, they have a top Justice Department official just came out who was cosmic clearance, is saying that the U.S. runs Al Qaeda. But sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that is fascinating. Yeah. Well, these are the things that were being put on record a long time ago.
For folks who know, cosmic doesn't just get all the U.S., it gets all the main intel agency information, everything.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. The more that we understand, there's a lot of people on the deep state side who understand how the clearances work. And then when you get into that UFO field, you run into certain types of problems. And this is the nature of the issue. Because on the UFO side, you don't have the experience level going on that the deep state researchers do, and that's just the split that goes on there. But the deep state researchers very often stay away from the UFO side because it's such a circus show. The circus is in town. Well, at this point, there's no longer time to kind of wait for what happens with the UFO disclosure aspect. It's coming forward. So how does it get spun? Either as a CIA UFO threat, which is what they're looking for, and that's why you find people going missing like the general. Or are we going to see genuine UFO disclosure, which is a gigantic national security
And what's
secret,
forcing
and at
is
the
it because they
heart
know
of the
China
deep
and
state?
Russia are getting ready to disclose, or what? Why is it being forced?
Well, there's a timetable going on in the background. There's two issues that are happening. One of them is that the breakaway tech, they have an idea now from the redevelopment of it and keeping it secret that they can move it back, and we can look at all this wonderful technology. We're going to be looking at incredible things we've never seen before, teleportation and all of, warp drives, things.
And we
off
have the White House
side.
chief scientist saying that. It's not, we're just, we're already in disclosure right now. This is so insane.
It is. And when you think about it, look, I want to point our attention to Jared Isaacman's quote about the moon.
Yeah, so pretty heavy stuff going on there. And I don't really, I mean, it seems like it could be any of those number of things that's causing this to happen. I wish I could find the hold on just a second here. Let me do this. I'm doing my best to get for some reason, not sure why, but the stream is not loading on X. I mean, it's loading, but it's there. You can go to the whatever the thing is on top, but when I try and load it on my page, it doesn't come up. It's weird. I don't know what's going on with it. We're just gonna keep going because they'll find me if they want to, right? X does that to me sometimes. The stream won't come in, then all of a sudden it'll show up. So we'll just roll with it, see what happens. Anyway, all right. So where are we? What are we doing? That stuff is very interesting to me. I think that we definitely are going to keep an eye on that. I mean, is it, because there was this scientist dude that was on Sean Ryan's show bunch of long time ago, and when he was talking about it, I was like, man, this dude sounds like a nut job. But I also thought that Alex Jones was a nutcase too, way back when. Come to find out, everything that Alex Jones talked about was true. And they're saying that when Iran and Israel are shooting missiles at each other and there's fireballs in the sky, that God's going to come back. Now, you can believe prophecy or not. It's up to you, but that's supposed to happen on Easter. So Easter's next week. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's definitely interesting. Now, while this is going on, all these different things are going on at the same time. There was a brother and sister, Chinese brother and sister that put IUDs at a military base and then fled. The IUDs didn't go off, and they found out who they were. They arrested them and did all that stuff. I have this clip right here. I just want to make sure that, because one of the things that happens when the topics are all heavy and all the little things that are really important stuff. It's really important to know if Chinese diplomats are putting bombs at military bases. You think that'd be important, right? But you don't hear none of it, because all that you hear about is Iran. That's it. That's all we've heard about. Israel, Iran. They don't even say Israel, by the way. They just talk about Iran, and they talk about, just like it's just how they do it. It's the propaganda is so heavy when they have a topic, just like everything else that's happened. It's all, whatever the topic, the top story is, that's all that floods the news feeds. And right now it seems to be Iran war and Joe Kent. Joe Kent's definitely a topic of every news feed right now because he's made the media tour all over the place. And my opinion, I think he's telling the truth, and he's letting everybody know that, hey, we're under totalitarian, we're under, this is not good. If this goes the way it looks, we're screwed. And we'll get to that here in a minute. We'll get to it here. Let's do this clip. I'm trying to not get ahead of myself, but I tend to get ahead of myself.
The Roseville Auto Mall is Northern California's ultimate destination when looking for your next vehicle. Find the largest selection with.
On the evening of March the 10th, 2026, Alan Zhang planted an improvised explosive device. Often we will hear terminology in the IED. For those who have covered bombings in the Middle East will know by that terminology. He placed it outside the visitor center at the Air Force Base in Tampa. Device did not detonate, but minutes after the device was planted, a 911 call reported that a bomb had been placed on the base. When that phone call came in, no location for that bomb was in fact given in that 911 call. The MacDill personnel searched the base and on the entire base and did not find a device at that time. The next day, the individual who placed that bomb, Alan Zhang, and his sister made plans to flee to China. Well, he acknowledged that there was a bomb being placed, as I said. What basically, it was very short and very cryptic, but he said that a bomb had been placed on MacDill Air Force Base. The key to that, of course, is he didn't say where. Without going into the specifics of the device, why it didn't detonate at the time is a question we would like to ask Mr. Zhang. However, it didn't, but I will tell you that it could have been potentially very deadly.
It was only a matter of hours before we had viable information that eventually led us to the indictments of Alan Zhang and his sister Anne Marie.
Sorry, that was a Fox News clip, and Fox News is shitty because they run ads on top of, it's just horrible. I don't usually do Fox News ads, but I ran across that and I'm like, how come nobody's talking about this in Florida where they put bombs at a visitor center at a military base? It's like, come on, man, what's going on here? And this is just how it goes. And listen, I cannot wait for the day when I have help here when, because we do have a business plan on how to make this more efficient, with, help and all that stuff, and we're getting there. We are getting there. It's a slow process. One of the little things that happened here is I got in this by accident. And when I found out what was going on in our country in 2020, I about had a heart attack and I could not believe what was going on. And as I was paying attention to the things that I never paid attention to, I realized that I was part of the problem. Let that sink in for just a minute. I really thought that I was part of the problem. And what I mean by that is I didn't care about politics. I didn't care what the next politician was doing. I didn't care about voting or doing anything to help the future of my children in that way. Now that I'm in it, I mean, what's that saying go? Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's where I'm at right now. I cannot unsee it. So it's just, sometimes I wish I could go back to the day when I didn't know shit, but I can't. All I want to do now is get rid of every politician in office because they're all worthless. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on. They're all horrible. There may be a couple, and they're usually bogged down by, whatever. They're usually bogged down by people, the corrupt politicians, keeping them off their game because they're suing them or they're whatever it is, or causing problems. Like Massey is a prime example. President of the United States is going after Massey because Massey's telling them the truth. And look at what they've done to Joe Kent. They literally said that Joe Kent is a leaker when all that he was doing was trying to bring the truth to everybody so that Trump could, maybe switch course on this, so we didn't end up with ground troops in Iran, where that's what they're talking about, 20,000 right now. It's crazy. It is. It's wild. Anyway, so that's my little story for those of you that don't know. Main part of the show here. Tucker went on Sean Ryan's show a day or two ago, and they put out this clip, and it's the one clip that is the exact reason why I'm doing the stuff that I'm doing with the show, which, if you can't go and protest and go to the White House and do all the things that, a lot of activists do, you should have a podcast or a show or something where you could have a voice of reason in this corrupt, crazy world of politics. You just should be doing something. And, so I chose this because, my job doesn't allow me to be out, at the, Gavin Newsom's office, on a bullhorn, or else I would be. So this is what I do. Anyway, check it out.
So Tucker Carlson just went on Sean Ryan and said, we are either going to be in a totalitarian takeover or we're going to have a revolution. And I agree with what he said, basically, but we're already in a totalitarian takeover. And Trump, until about 6 months ago, was basically against that on every policy. Now he's turned directly into it, supporting with AI dictatorship, war with Iran, you name it, it is going south. Glyphosate, liability protection, Roundup, blocking what Kennedy's doing, it is bad. But Zuckerberg is the head of the new AI above the law commission where they can't be sued, can't be investigated, do whatever they want. Zuckerberg that literally stole the 2020 election, the key guy, $400 million donated to do it. And this is bad, folks. People say, why are you attacking Trump? He's attacking everything he stood for. So Carlson, this clip coming up, says we're going into totalitarianism. It's that or revolution. And revolution should be also cultural. It can be velvet. But people have to get serious about this, have to understand how real it is. Understand this is a globalist revolution against us. This is tyranny. And this is where we are. There's populism rising worldwide. People are really waking up. The globalists are desperate. They're bringing in the censorship and control because they're in trouble. But Trump didn't build this. Trump didn't create this. He rode in on a wave that we created. We don't rise and fall with Trump. We hope Trump gets back on track. But regardless, it's going to be strong medicine speaking out against the fraud. It's going to stop this. We were right 29 days ago that this would be a fiasco in Iran. We've been right all along the whole time. We'll continue to be right because we're studying history. We're engaged. Here's Tucker Carlson on Sean Ryan. What he says is 100% true, except we're already under totalitarianism. It's going to get a lot worse.
I think it's very good, in fact, necessary to force leaders to do what they say they're going to do. Otherwise, come on, dude, we're moving toward one of two endpoints. One is a totalitarian society where you just don't have the option of disagreeing. You have to obey because you've got programmable digital currency and universal surveillance, and you just have to do what they say or they'll starve you to death.
It's not going to work here.
I hope it, I pray it doesn't.
It's not going to
or
work.
We're going to have a revolution. It's one of the two. We're getting totalitarian government or revolution.
It's going to work for a little bit, and then it's not going to work anymore.
I pray you're right. I'm a gold buyer on that basis, an ammo buyer. But again, I have no track record of seeing the future, but I'm convinced that the current course won't work because it's a lie. If you tell people they own the government, they're in charge, they rule through the representatives in this democratic republic, that's what we've told. That's our system. Has been for 250 years. If you tell them that's the system and you don't deliver on it, they go crazy. They go totally crazy. If you tell them, by the way, I've spent a lot of time in
What do you think happens when a government takes everybody's currency in a country that has more fucking guns and ammunition than anywhere else in the entire world?
I mean, as I've said a million times,
it works for a little bit. And then when the desperation kicks in, that shit doesn't fucking work.
Well, so that's exactly, we're saying the same thing. We're moving toward totalitarianism or revolution, violent revolution. By the way, if you tell people they can't say what they think, and their vote doesn't matter, how many options have you left for them? Just one. Violence.
Very fucking many.
That's right. So don't do that. Don't do that. It's much better to give a little. And you do this with your kids, you know, especially when they become teenagers. You reach a point where it's like, you can smell the defiance on them. How do I handle this? Just punch them in the face? Cut them off? Starve them out? No. You know, you listen. You make it clear that you're in charge. You'll be deciding. But you take their position into consideration because you have to, because they're becoming adults. You have to be a little flexible. No, you can't smoke weed at the breakfast table. Like, there's some things you will never accept. But you can't ignore every single signal you're getting from your children. Well, your population's very similar.
I'm getting really angry right now.
Why?
I think we should go. I think we should go out back and blow some shit.
Sorry.
Break.
Let me do this. Yeah. So if you see me on the internet, hopefully you see me, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Go to my Rumble and subscribe. Go to my Getter and subscribe, because I don't know why X does this to me. It's supposed to be the free speech platform for America or for the world or whatever, but like I can't get it to load on X, and it's weird because it shows it's on. I can see it, but nobody's on there because it won't load on X. And I don't know if there's trouble with X right now, but this happens a lot. It pisses me off because, they've shadow banned me for years because of the stuff that I talk about, and from when I got taken off of X years ago, 2021 or what, 2022, whatever. And when they gave me my channel back, they didn't even give me my followers back. You know what I mean? It was almost like a new channel. Anyway, I'm complaining. I'm not doing that. Anyway, what Tucker's talking about is all the different things that's going on. Trump signed a executive order allowing all the AI, there's like 13 or 14 AI companies that are in charge of all this AI stuff, to have immunity. So that means they can do whatever the fuck they want, period. And Zuckerberg and all those globalists are all over the board. Not Elon Musk, not that Elon Musk is any better or worse, but they pulled Elon Musk out of that whole thing early, kicked him out of the White House, right? And then now Trump has all these globalists in there, all these deep staters. They're all in there and they're all running the show. And I'm wondering, is Trump compromised? I'm not the only one saying this. Is Trump compromised? What's going on? Why are we having this going on? Why did he allow his cabinet to talk him into bombing Iran, knowing that what's going to happen is it's going to affect our economy, it's going to affect by next year there won't be no food. You need to let this sink in. We're going to move on. We're going to keep going here. Stand by. Joe Camp.
In Damascus, forming that crescent, that land bridge of Iranian supplies going right into Israel's backyard. So the Israelis at the end of the Iraq war were like, no, this is not going to work at all. We have to break this up. We have to go to war in Syria. We have to take down Assad. Arab Spring happened. There was some energy from the people. I think it was somewhat organic. But then in short order, we came in and we said, we're going to work with the Israelis, but we're also going to have to work heavily with the Sunni population on the ground in Syria to create an uprising. And that's where ISIS came from. We worked directly with Al-Qaeda. Hillary Clinton's emails confirm this. The operations that we were doing to support the so-called Free Syrian Army, and there were some moderates there, but the most effective guys initially were Al-Qaeda and then eventually ISIS. Now, obviously, ISIS got out of control and they started plotting attacks in Europe. They started plotting attacks in America. They took over large swaths of Iraq. So we then had to go back and put out once again the brush fire that we had started and go after ISIS. And that's where I lost my late wife. But Israel was the driving factor in that. We took down Saddam, who was a strong man against Israel. We then had to go in and take out Assad, who was a strong man against Israel as well. And now this is the third phase. We're going now into Iran to take out that strong government for Israel.
And who did we put in charge of Syria?
Oh, we handed that whole, well, again, we screwed the whole thing up so much
we handed it to a leader of fucking Al Qaeda.
Yep. He was in ISIS initially. He was in Al Qaeda initially in Iraq, fighting against us. We had him in jail, joined ISIS, broke off from ISIS, hand selected by bin Laden's right hand man, Ayman Zawahiri, to lead Nusra. And then they rebranded. And this is the number one way to fool Americans as a jihadist is just put on a suit and get a good PR company. And then apparently we'll just believe whatever you say.
There's videos of this guy holding people's heads that he cut off.
Yeah, he's the thug.
He's shaking
he's a brutal
President
terrorist.
Trump's hand.
Yeah, horrible advice. Yep. And so
what the fuck are we doing?
Exactly.
What are we doing?
Exactly. President Trump at the beginning, again, this is where Trump.
Because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard. It's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump. Because you want him not to be successful so bad, you have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots were successful. How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, I don't know, fly a plane for 36 hours? Has MSNBC done that story? Has Fox? Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? Or what it's like to man a Patriot battery? Or how hard it is to refuel midair, giving the American people an understanding of how complex and sophisticated this mission really was. There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that because of the hatred of this press corps are undermined because your people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful. It's irresponsible. And folks in this room are privy to that information because of the proximity here in the Pentagon. It's an important responsibility. And time again, classified information is leaked or peddled for political purposes to try to make the president look bad. And what's really happening is you're undermining the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots and incredible refuelers and incredible air defenders who accomplished their mission, set back a nuclear program in ways that other presidents would have dreamed. How about we celebrate that? How about we talk about how special America is, that we have these capabilities? I think it's too much to ask, unfortunately, for the fake news. So we're used to that. But we also have an opportunity to stand at the podium and read the truth of what's really happening. And the reality is you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated, choose your word. This was an historically successful attack, and we should celebrate it as Americans. And it gives us a chance to have peace, chance to have a deal, and an opportunity to prevent a nuclear Iran, which is something President Trump talked about for 20 years.
Hold that thought, Mr. Hegseth. Hold
I
that
like to look at
thought.
things through my enemy's eyes. And so if I'm Iran right now, a gift would be having Marines and paratroopers descend or take the beaches of any one of these islands. I don't care which one it is. I would let them come in. And then I would make it very, very clear that through the use of mining, through the use of ballistic missiles, through the use of drone swarms, they are now our hostages. So this would be a strategic disaster. Honestly, I think if the Iranians are smart, and they are smart, that they would let us take the island. They'd let us do a victory video about how now we control the refining and this is checkmate and the straits are open. And then I would just show them very, very quickly and strongly that they don't actually control the space. I'd use the drones, use the ballistics that we know that they have on hand, or even more of a disaster is us committing troops to actually like the beaches, the land on the shores of the Straits of Hormuz inside of Iran. Because again, what they've learned for the last 20 plus years is that when we get sucked into these land engagements, all they have to do is win by not losing. We will eventually bleed out blood and treasure, and we will get sick of the equation, and we will simply leave. So this would be a golden gift to the Iranians, and I pray that President Trump is smart enough not to fall for this trap, regardless of who's in his ear. Nancy Mace and other representatives coming out, Republican representatives coming out and expressing their skepticism of this. That gives me some hope, because all these guys are on the ballot here come November, and they know they're going to hear from their voters on this issue. So I think people calling their senators and calling their congressmen in particular, because they're all on the ballot in November, and telling them that we do not support this, I think that's going to be crucial. Now,
Yeah, so when you think about what's going on here, and I know that one clip was from when we went in last summer or last spring, whatever, when we had that, we supposedly went in there and took out their nuclear weapons, uranium, excuse me, last September, whatever it was, or June, whatever, I think it was June. But the point is that what we have now is they're talking about putting troops on the ground. And you should hear some of these ding-dongs talking about how we have to go in there and do this for the uranium. So we could take their uranium. We're going to kill millions of people to take their uranium because we need it or something like that. I don't know. Listen to listen to what this dipshit has to say. I have two clips. Stand by.
Troops on the ground. He said no troops on the ground. I don't remember that in any campaign speech either. But why would we need troops on the ground? Well, there's a lot of reasons, and we wouldn't need 300,000 of them. It's this uranium, too. We've got to get the uranium. If it cannot be destroyed, if it cannot be altered, we got to get it. The reason I just said. You can make dirty bombs, and over time you can still make sophisticated missiles. So you need to get to the uranium. That's why I'm reading in the paper, we're talking about the 82nd Airborne, we're talking about these various special forces and the various military services and so forth. He's not talking about sending regular army and infantry in by the hundreds of thousands. The men he's talking about, the units he's talking about, they are specialized. And you know what else? I remember from my days in the Reagan administration. Many of them are trained for a moment like this, to try and secure enriched uranium. Many have been trained for moments like this.
Since 9/11, a whole bunch of the leadership, including bin Laden's son, escaped from Afghanistan to Iran, were given sanctuary by the Iranian regime, and they've been using it as a hub for terror around the world. And Al-Qaeda and Iran have teamed up for a series of terrorist attacks against us. People don't realize this, but we remember the bombings of the embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, which should have been our warning that 9/11 was coming. That was planned, and the terrorists were trained by Iran for doing that, because Al-Qaeda didn't know how to bring down buildings, so they turned to Iran in order to get the training to do that. So the idea that Iran, which is Shia, and Al-Qaeda, which is Sunni, would cooperate is not beyond measure. In fact, I mean, the Hamas is Sunni also. Iran works with Sunni terrorists around the world. And if we don't get that enriched uranium, and they want to get back at us for what we've done, the easiest way to do it would be to give it to Al-Qaeda and let them use it for a dirty bomb. So we have got to get what Donald Trump correctly calls the nuclear dust before this operation is done.
Yeah, so now the talking point is to go in and get the uranium from Iran. First, it was blow up their their nuclear, weapons cache or whatever that's in the mountains of Iran. Then it was, we got it all and we will be good for years. Then it was, we got to go back in because they're 2 weeks from having a nuclear weapon again and all this stuff. And they just keep changing the reason why they're over there. And I get that these these media people, they're just paid for whatever they talk about. And I totally understand that's what's going on, but it's like, you're going to put troops on the ground in Iran, and all the experts, all the people that, fight these wars, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, all that stuff. They're like, this is a bloodbath to do something like this. This would be, it would be, shooting fish in a barrel type of thing. So really, I don't know what Trump thinks he's getting away with here, but I don't know. I don't understand. But the other thing that is really very interesting to me is the fact that they killed the Charlie Kirk, the whole thing. They just killed the investigation completely, and they're saying this dude that we know didn't take the shot, that didn't kill. He's the the one. They have all this evidence and all this stuff, and Joe Kent was like, "Hey, we were running down leads of foreign involvement, and they killed it. FBI just killed it." And so we'll have more on this tomorrow. But let me play this clip from Joe Kent real quick, and we'll be covering more of the Charlie Kirk stuff tomorrow for sure. But stand by.
Idea that foreign elements may have been involved or may just have knowledge of Charlie Kirk's assassination prior to the event. When did that first arise to your awareness?
Right after the assassination. I mean, we just started doing our basic investigatory duties, which obviously the FBI looks into all the U.S. persons that were involved, but because Charlie had an international following and he was a national figure, we started looking into this as well. And we found some foreign nexus leads, and I'm not saying a foreign government. I'm not saying necessarily foreign individuals, but there was foreign nexuses that we needed to look into more. And immediately the FBI had issues with that, and they kicked us out of reviewing all of that. This went through a couple of different iterations where we asked for some more access to look into things that were well within our purview, questions that I think are still unanswered, and we were pretty much shut out of that. And so that's always been my stipulation. And I just think if you look at the Kirk assassination on a broader timeline, I mean, Charlie was very much against the war. In Iran, he was advocating against it in June. That was the last time I saw him, as I described on Tucker. There was other people that he was talking with then too that can confirm that Charlie was there advocating against the war. And then obviously after Midnight Hammer, I think Charlie, like a lot of us, said, okay, fine, we bombed the nuclear facilities. Now that issue is off the table. We're done. We still want to make sure we don't get involved in a further, regime change war. And I think Charlie knew that the issue wasn't dead after Midnight Hammer, that it was still going to require some more lobbying. That's just my guess. He didn't tell me that. I can't pretend to be like best friends with Charlie or anything.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. The whole thing just seems like a lot. But before we go, because it all's connected, by the way, Charlie Kirk, Epstein files, Iran, Israel, deep state. It's all the same. It's all connected. It's all got tentacles all wrapped up together. And listen to this on the, this is the last clip for the night, but I wanted to make sure that I covered this. Oh, I have two actually. I think this one first though.
Some of these bunkers are bigger than the houses that you and I grew up in, but you've got a bunker, and that it doesn't surprise me to hear that. What kind of bunker are you building out there?
A very simple bunker, Brian. I thank Griff for the shout out. I don't have billions of dollars to build a bunker. Like most people, not a lot of disposable income with lots of kids, so you do what you can. The house we bought came with like a cellar bunker, tornado shelter type thing. So we're trying to modify it to be prepared. But all I'm really trying to be prepared for, Brian, is a grid down situation. I don't know if the zombie apocalypse is coming. I don't know if war is coming. I don't know what's coming. All I know is that when the power goes out, whether you're in Tennessee or New York City, life changes. Within 48 hours, the whole world's different. Within 96 hours, we can't even predict what the world would look like, what our society would look like. So where are you going to get food? Where are you going to get water? Where are you going to get power? How are you going to get off the island of Manhattan if you want to get off? Or how are you going to go get to your family and friends? Do you have gasoline? Like, to me, it's more just a mindset of having the essentials for 5, 6, 7 days. And then if the grid's really down, well, then maybe only the billionaires survive at that point.
It's funny, growing up, my grandparents had a bomb shelter, and it was really fun to play in it. I never knew that it would be like a serious thing that we'd actually be talking about.
That's them telling you without telling you. Are you not somewhat alarmed or like, oh shit? And y'all know that this was the top trending movie, Leave the World Behind. And I told y'all the vibrations and everything that's been off and weird lately. Wake up!
Oh yeah. I hope you got a bunker. If you don't have a bunker, I guess we're all gonna just die if we're not billionaires. If we don't have bunkers. Let's listen to what Joe says about Alex Jones real quick on our way out, and then.
But he was the guy who told me about Epstein's Island more than a decade ago, and I thought it was the craziest thing I'd ever heard. I was like, "What are you saying?" There's an island, like it sounds like a plot in a movie. There's an island where they fly famous rich scientists and politicians, and they compromise them with underage girls and get it on film so they could use it against them. I'm like, what? That sounds like horseshit. That sounds like lizard people. It sounds like 5G creates COVID. Same thing.
Yeah.
But turns out it was true. And it's one of many things. He was the first one to warn me about a social credit score system. He's like, they're going to try to implement a social credit score system, and your money is going to be tied. They'll have centralized digital currency, and your money will be tied to your social credit score system. And you step out of line, you won't be able to buy things. You won't be able to travel. You won't be able to do anything. They're going to try to keep you within a 15-minute radius of your home. And they're starting to do that in places.
Yeah,
all of it's real.
Yeah, better listen. Better listen, because they're implementing that too with that AI thing, by the way. Just saying. If you haven't had an opportunity to dig into that, that's something worth digging into. The whole AI control grid thing that they're pulling off, and the CBDC. Yeah, it's coming. It's like, and now President Trump has done a complete 180 on us. I don't know what's next. Anyway, thank you for being here tonight on this Saturday night. We'll see you tomorrow night. I've confirmed that we're going to do a show tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. We'll see you then. God bless you all. Be safe out there. And whatever you do, man, pay attention and be prepared. By the way, if you could go to My Patriot Supply and just check out what they have. You can find it in the description on the show, on the show description. Check it out. Right now, you might need water, restorable food or water, water supply. They have these Alexa Pro water filters so you can have clean water. We don't know what's next. We got the Secretary of War talking about building a bunker so he can be safe. So I don't know. I don't know, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless you all. Good night.